be very dangerous for you and your baby. And this can also lead to postpartum depression. Welcome to the Kingdom, Your Majesties. I'm your host, Queen Ash, and on this channel, we help women, especially women of color, to become quality kingdom queens through faith, femininity, beauty, and lifestyle excellence. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome, my beautiful queens. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and press that bell notification so you will not miss our weekly royal sessions. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 things that can lead towards postpartum depression, or in other words, 5 things that will show or give you a high chance of experiencing postpartum depression after giving birth to your baby. Before we get started, I want to clarify that I am not a licensed physician or a doctor of any nature, so I cannot diagnose any of your symptoms. However, I can explain from my experiences and the women around me on the chance and likelihood that you will probably experience postpartum depression after giving birth to your baby. Before we jump into the video, I just want to let all the mothers out there, if you are expecting or if you have recently given birth to your baby, I just want to say congratulations. You've done a great and wonderful job. It is such a blessing to be a mother, and I am so proud of you, and you are going to be a wonderful, loving, and just beautiful mother to your little bundle of joy. Believe in yourself, trust in God, and you will get through this time. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first topic of this video. Now, the first sign or indicator that you may experience postpartum depression after giving birth to your baby is if you have a medical history of postpartum depression or depression in general, because postpartum depression is simply depression, but you experience the postpartum depression after giving birth to your baby. So it's still that clinical depression, just simply you're experiencing it after having a baby. Now, if you have a medical history of depression in general, then 9 times out of 10, you will experience postpartum depression because you already have that history and background of depression. Now, let's say that you don't have a history or background in depression already. Well, you still want to take your family's history into consideration. For example, your mother, your father, it's mostly maternal, meaning coming from your mother's side of the family. However, we don't want to exclude the paternal side either. If your siblings, it must be your kind of like your immediate family, like your mother, your father, your siblings. We're talking about those particular family members. So if you have a family history or a family generation of experiencing depression or postpartum depression, then your chances for having depression after having your baby will increase. The second topic on our list is if you are experiencing any kind of traumatic events happening in your life. Now, when I'm talking about traumatic events, I'm talking about things such as losing your job. For example, if you've recently lost your job, or losing your home or anything like that. Those kind of traumatic situations will affect you mentally, and they will kind of set up a prerequisite or indicator that you could be experience postpartum depression, because those are major things happening in your life. My example, of course, I lost a family member. So that's the most traumatic thing that can happen to you. If you lose family members, that is a big indicator for you having postpartum depression after having your loved one, your bundle of joy. I experienced this last year. My little brother, he passed away. My little brother passed away at the beginning of last year, and that was a very traumatic event for me. I just completely fell apart. My entire world fell apart. I dropped out of my master's program at school because I dropped out of my master's program in school. I was working on my master's, and when I discovered the news of my little brother's passing, I completely dropped out of my master's program. And I fell apart because that was a very tremendous effect on my mental stability. And also, it was honestly months later that year, that I discovered that I was expecting. So during that grieving period of losing my brother, and then months later in that year, discovering that I was expecting a child, my mind at that point couldn't keep up with the news of expecting a child when I just lost my brother. Another tragic event, or another traumatizing event that can lead towards postpartum depression, is the birthing journey or the birthing story. So for example, when you're going in to have your baby and something traumatic happens. For me, that was, I did experience a very traumatic birthing journey, which also led towards my postpartum depression. And also, the doctors did let me know that I will also experience some PTSD as well. So for women of color, our birthing mortality rate is higher than any other woman in the world, to be honest. So it's very sad, but it's true that it is very common for women of color to, Black women especially, to lose their lives during the birthing process. And that's exactly what almost happened to me. I had some uncontrollable hemorrhaging, bleeding out. To put it in perspective, the nurse told me that I lost 2 liters, 2.5. So 1 liter of soda, think about 1 liter of soda. I lost 2 of those and a half. So that's the amount of blood that I lost when I had an emergency C-section.
Wait, Queens, wait. I failed to mention that another traumatic thing that happened to me during my birth story is that I came tumbling down the stairs during my last trimester of my pregnancy, and I hit the side of my stomach on my way down the stairs, and I came crushing right down on top of my right ankle and broke it. So I had a broken ankle during my last trimester, which in turn made me come a month deliver 1 month early, which according to my husband was probably the reason why the cord wrapped around our son's neck. Not only that, after I gave birth, I developed blood clots in both lungs.
I've never had an emergency C-section before, but I did have a trauma with my baby, in which the nurse, she did feel the cord around the baby's neck, and his heart rate completely dropped, and to a point it actually stopped, and I had to go into an emergency C-section. And during my emergency C-section, I hemorrhaged quite a bit, and I literally almost lost my life. So that led towards a little bit of PTSD, and also led towards some of my postpartum depression. So I really want you to take into account traumatic things that are happening in your life, whether it's losing your job, losing a family member. Traumatic things will add up or kind of build up towards that postpartum depression. Moving on to the third thing on our list. The third thing on our list that give you a little indicator of if you will experience postpartum depression is an unplanned pregnancy. Yes, an unplanned or unexpected pregnancy, because let's be honest, you weren't expecting it. And this is for the women that think to themselves, or who have said to themselves, I'm on birth control. How in the world did I get pregnant? That is what happened to me during my first pregnancy. I was on birth control and it completely failed, and I ended up with my first son. But this time around, my husband and I, we were planning for the baby that I had, even though my brother passed earlier that year, and then I found out that I was expecting. We were trying to have a baby, but it just wasn't expected when my brother passed away. But I did actually plan this pregnancy, my husband and I. But if you're one of the queens watching this video and you're having an unexpected or unplanned pregnancy, yes, that can cause some mental stress, some it will cause a mental toll on you, especially when you don't have the finances or the resources to help you prepare for a baby. Because I'm going to be honest, having a baby is very expensive. If you've had children before, you know just how expensive having a baby, how draining a baby can be on those funds. Okay, so this can cause a great amount of stress, especially when you're unexpecting it, and this can take a toll on you mentally, and just the body changes, the physical and hormonal balances and changes that are going through your body while you're having this child. And if this is also an unexpected pregnancy, you're probably thinking about the other partner or the person that has helped you create this life. Is this person going to be supportive? Are they in your lives? Will they help you take care of your baby? That's a whole nother ball game, because because it's unplanned, it's unexpected. The other partner will feel like, wow, this is unplanned and it is unexpected. So you have to think about if the other partner is going to be accepting of this. And if they aren't, then that's another stressor that is added on to the unplanned pregnancy, honestly. So if that partner is not here to help you, then you just lost a lot of support. You lost a lot of support that can help you get through one of the most life-changing events of your life, to be honest. Then you got to think about, do you have insurance? Insurance to give birth to a baby, because having a baby is expensive if you do not have insurance. Thinking about, am I suited? Am I prepared to, bring this bundle of joy into the world? And that's going to cause some major stressors that can lead towards postpartum depression. The next thing on my list that could possibly lead towards postpartum depression is kind of in conjunction with the unplanned pregnancy. And we're talking about prenatal care. Prenatal care is very essential for a woman that's expecting a child. You need your prenatal care. And this can be kind of difficult if you do not have a primary care physician or OBGYN. If you're not going in for your checkups, this is essential, because your prenatal care, you're able to monitor the baby. The OBGYN, they're there to help monitor the baby, monitor how well the baby is growing, what the baby is lacking, what the baby needs. You're able to get your labs done. You're able to check for gestational diabetes. This is very essential, your prenatal care. And I know in the community that I've grown up in, and I've experienced so many women, they lack prenatal care, lack the time to go in, whether it's work. I have work to do. I don't have time to take off work to go in for an appointment, or just not having the proper insurance. A lot of women lack prenatal care, and this can be very dangerous for you and your baby. And this can also lead to postpartum depression, because just think about carrying a baby for 9 months without seeking that prenatal care and that prenatal help, and then you give birth to your baby, and there are so many issues and things going wrong with baby that could have been discovered and taken care of during your prenatal care. So it is very important, once you find out that you are expecting a child, to be on top of your prenatal care and prenatal appointments. I know that with this recent pregnancy that I had, I was at a moderate risk for preeclampsia. I had high blood pressure. So many things were happening and going on in my life during this pregnancy that I never experienced with my first or second pregnancy. So it is very important to go into your OBGYN, your physical health physician, and get those prenatal checkups, that prenatal care. Ensure that you and your baby are doing well. They will be able to detect if you are not eating enough, if your baby is not receiving enough nutrients. It is very essential for you to go in and get your prenatal checkups. The last thing on our list for today, for our 5 signs or 5 symptoms that can lead up to postpartum depression, we're going to talk about self-neglect. Self-neglect will determine if you will or will not experience postpartum depression. Now, most of the time, you can't tell if you're going to have postpartum depression depending on your journey throughout your pregnancy. If you're already getting to a point where you do not want to take care of yourself, for example, you don't want to do your basic functions, like you don't want to get up and go to work, you don't want to, of course it's hard. I understand, moms, I understand that it's hard to bring a life into this world. And sometimes there will come a point where you may not want to take care of yourself. You don't want to get up, you don't want to go to work. It's hard. Maybe a lot of extra weight gain, mood swings, they will cause us to do some things that we have never done before. So just completely neglecting yourself, neglecting your eating habits, neglecting exercise, neglecting mental rest and mental health, always in a constant state of stress, always in a constant state of irritability and low moods. This is kind of leading towards the indicator that you may experience postpartum depression. My beautiful queens, we have reached the end of the video. Thank you for hanging out with me towards the end of the video. If you feel as if this video was very helpful for you, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And please do not forget to hit that subscribe button because we're on our journey towards getting 1,000 subscribers. I am so happy to become a mental health advocate to help educate women, especially women of color, to take care of their mental health. For so long, I feel that in the Black community, women they're often expected to put aside their mental health difficulties because we're expected to be strong and independent and just invincible women. When in actuality, there are times that we also can break down as well. So I am just starting off on my mental health journey, on being a mental health advocate, and I want to make sure that I'm bringing to my channel a mentally healthy and fit lifestyle for all of my women, especially women of color. I love you all so much and thank you for tuning in with me today. Go out and have yourself a majestic day, my beautiful queens. See you in the next video.